Well, did you get them?
Hell yeah. Check it out.
You didn't bitch out?
I got a lot of Blu-rays at Best Buy. We got
See what he's got here.
Cabin in the Woods. We got Marvel's The Avengers. A lot of Joss Whedon love right there. And then check this out. Indiana Jones,
Hell
The Complete Adventures.
We're gonna watch all of these.
Hell yeah, we are. Beginning to end. Indiana Jones Marathon.
Let's see what's
Let's make an unboxing video.
Alright, cool, let's do that. Opening up the plastic here.
This little slip. First time ever on Blu-ray. 7 hours of special features. And box artwork of Indy.
Him with his whip. And then the plane.
The map on the back. Open it up.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
And what do we have here?
It's very...
War artwork. The original Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Temple of Doom. The Last Crusade. Yeah. What the hell is this? Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
They included that in there?
With Shia LaBeouf?
Look at that little fucking bitch.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, fuck that.
We're not having this.
Oh, hell no. Yep.
I'm gonna take care of it.
Alright. Alright, we got this Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. We're about to...
Yeah. Fuck this movie. I've never watched it past the first 20 minutes, and I never will. It's not gonna play at any Blu-ray player I own.
Hell no. It's not real Indiana Jones. It's some fake shit.
You see that out there?
Yeah, you see that? You see that right there?
This is my boomstick. And fuck you, Spielberg and Lucas.
I like to cast a party the way I cast a play with very special people, and the champagne must be equally special. Paul Masson, a premium California champagne of impeccable taste. Paul Masson wines taste so good because they're made with such care. Old Paul Masson himself said it nearly a century ago. We will sell no wine before it's time.
Happy TQIF, folks, and welcome to another interview segment. And this week we have Sean from Trek on the Tube.
Hello.
You've had a YouTube channel for about 4 years now, is that correct?
Yeah, about that. About since I got to Canada.
And what inspired you to make a YouTube channel? What was the moment that you said, I'm going to do this?
It was a couple things, actually. Mainly Star Wars, which is interesting enough. There's a channel called Emergency Awesome that's online that does a lot of news and stuff, but the guy Charlie does a lot of like breakdowns for Star Wars and Theorycraft, that kind of stuff, but he also does like canon explanations and explanations about like the universe of Star Wars, and he does this for so many things. He's like an all-around nerd. He does all the Marvel and all the DC and everything. And I realized that Star Wars, including the expanded universe, was huge, and there was like a lot going on, and I didn't understand too much of it. And he would do like these very succinct, very to the point explanations that would, you know, make me wiser to what's going on in the universe. And I thought, no one does that for Star Trek, because Trekkies get real anal about things, and they dissect all of the details about every single thing, and like we all do this too. But I thought maybe it would be interesting to have like kind of like a broader net, you know what I mean, like cast a bigger net out there and try to get Trekkies that are just new, or try to get people that aren't Trekkies yet and that are interested in like discovering and learning about the universe. So I thought, let's do like an explanation about the uniforms, an explanation about what kind of species there are, but just without getting into too many details. So Emergency Awesome and Damien, the Irish Trekkie, as well, inspired me, because he was the first kind of Trekkie that I found on YouTube. and was like, oh my god, there are Star Trek people on YouTube. There's a community. So yeah, that's what got me into it.
So what kind of videos did you start with? Did you start with explanation videos or reviews of episodes or movies?
Like the two videos that I started off doing was like kind of explanation of how to get into Star Trek, I suppose, like what to watch before Discovery comes out. And then, of course, some news about Discovery, and those were the two things that I really started off with. The reviews came in later. When Discovery finally dropped a year and a half after I began the channel, I started doing the reviews for Discovery.
So have you created any kind of characters for your channel besides you as the sole presenter? Have you experimented in some kind of sketch territory, if I might ask?
Yeah, I try to be funny.
Hey kids, do you like Star Trek? Do you want more new Star Trek Discovery related stories? Then how about trying out a box of canon? In every box comes an all-new Star Trek Discovery related story. We've got USS Discovery Blue, Mirror Universe Blue, an all-new tardigrade lawsuit Blue. Canon, have yourself a box of canon. Every story is certified 100% canon by Serial Box Scoundrels Limited, though continuity and coherence may not apply. Canon.
I'm laying back a bit on the canon cop at the moment, because of the situation in the US.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit tasteless to do that, so I'm moving into Mirror Trek on the tube now. I have the occasional appearance of Mirror TOTTY. But yeah, now I have ABTG, which stands for Absolute Bullshit True Greatness, which is like a rating spectrum that I kind of created to rate movies on and TV shows on, and that's kind of my outlet for everything that isn't Star Trek. It's not as serious a project. Like the Star Trek channel, Trek on the Tube, as much as I like adding comedy elements and characters to it, I still want to keep it, I don't know, reasonably serious, because I want to talk about the elements that exist in canon, and I want to do all of the Easter eggs that I can find and, you know, kind of make the channel complete. ABTG is more like a just, you know, whatever. I watched Space Jam, let's talk about Space Jam. No one cares about the movie, I still want to talk about it. Because I just watched the most random stuff. I watched Star Trek Discovery. I have also watched The Walking Dead, which means I know about Sonequa Martin Green, and apparently Sonequa Martin Green is going to be in the upcoming Space Jam sequel. So I watched Space Jam. I had never seen this thing before. I have watched a lot of Looney Tunes, but nope, never Space Jam. I'm also not a big basketball fan, so maybe that was the reason why I never really got into this. Anyway, I watched it. Space Jam. I was expecting this to be cringe. Just big cringe, but it wasn't. It was good fun. Not only is the animation and live action blended so well together, it was impeccable, especially for the time in which it came out, but also the quality of the animation was so good. Everything looked so crisp, so impeccable, so much more beautiful than the TV quality cartoons. Like, Warner really upped their game on this. Before we do truly jump into the live action elements of this film, I do want to talk about the animation just a bit more. The voice acting was impeccable. All of the jokes landed so well. It got really meta with Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny talking about the contracts and the merch and how they never got any money from that. And also, there are so many moments where these animated characters are actually physically interacting with the live action world, and it was so flawless, just so impeccable. On the live action end of things, I do think some of the performances could have been better, but it's good enough for what this movie is. It's not to be taken too seriously, clearly. I guess that's what happens when you don't actually get actors. I think all of these guys were basketball players, and so their performances aren't top notch. But hey, you know what? That's not a true complaint. It's fine. It was fun seeing all these guys. And it's not like this thing was ever going to be an Academy Award contendant anyway. The story is stupid, but God does it work well. None of it makes sense, but it pulls you in. The stupidity of it is just fun and compelling. Yeah, no, so like I said, Space Jam is definitely not a work of art. Not all the performances are fantastic, and even if it does serve this movie specifically quite well, the plot is absurd. I can understand why this thing got mixed reviews when it came out originally, and while it may seem completely mind-blowing to you guys, I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I actually think this movie is good. I know. Okay, do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you throwing things at your screen because you're mad at me right now? What did you think of Space Jam? Like, subscribe, do all of those fantastic things, and I'll see you next time.
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. I want to thank everybody here watching right now. Those were a couple of was a little showcase of our friend Sean from Trek on the Tube and AB. I still can't say it quickly. ABTG, his movie review channel, and we just recently had a discussion about The Expanse on there.
Really good discussion. I love that discussion.
Yes, it was. And also, we have after this, you want to stay tuned and for Text Trek, because he has an interview coming up, and he can tell you about that when he gets back. But right now, we're going to talk about WandaVision. WandaVision. And this will include spoilers. Is that you? Is that your TV in the background? Or okay. I don't think Fathery knows we're here yet. You're on mute, by the way, Starfleet boy.
Yeah, it's not me. See, there you go. Now you know it's not me. It's Father. I was on mute. Yes, we're going to talk about WandaVision. That's why I'm wearing my badge shirt.
See you next time.
Ooh.
What's going on here, man?
Sounds like
Tripping me out. Oh, shit. I got to turn down my phone, too.
Oh my gosh, Father. Catch a breath, bro.
What's up?
We're all here to...
You look like Thor today.
Yeah, you do.
I was running to get back.
Oh my god. You look just like you should replace Chris Hemsworth as Thor like 1,000%.
I could be the Thor in Endgame. I don't know about the other.
No,
the other
no,
ones.
you could be all the time Thor. It's looking good. That's all. Don't reveal your hair. It's too distracting.
So I assume everyone in the chat has seen WandaVision because we're going to talk full spoilers. Father, I want to start with you. What was your initial impression of the episode?
I liked it. It was a fun one. I was wondering what they're going to do to move like the sitcom setting forward, and we found out they did like a Malcolm in the Middle type thing. That was a cool device to introduce the kids, Billy and Tommy, and also I really enjoyed seeing this version of Quicksilver. What the actor's name is Evan Peters, right?
Evan Peters.
So, Evan Peters as Quicksilver in WandaVision is my favorite live action depiction of Quicksilver. I like this Quicksilver more than the Age of Ultron dude, and more than Evan Peters in the X-Men movies.
Except for when he says that awful thing to Wanda. And she's like, fuck you, man. And blasts him across the promenade or whatever it was. That was awesome.
But I felt like that was leaning into like the sitcom dialogue.
Did you find that the Malcolm in the Middle comparisons between, okay, you had the two kids, one's Malcolm obviously, and one's the other brother, and then Quicksilver's like the older brother from that show, remember?
Oh yeah, he was the one that was like off at the military academy.
Yeah.
And then there were actually three boys at home. You had Malcolm was in the middle between there's an older one, there's like the juvenile delinquent type, and then you have like the younger one. But
I didn't watch Malcolm in the Middle, but
when did that premiere? I was wondering. It was like 99, probably.
Yeah, something like that. No, wait, I don't know.
When did Malcolm in the Middle premiere?
The air date of the first episode of Malcolm in the Middle was January 9th, 2000.
Oh, 2000.
There you go.
So it was barely out of 1999. So,
but there were other shows. I forget which show, but there were a lot of shows that it reminded me of too. Like, I feel like it was doing a lot. It did a great job at capturing like the whole vibe of that era of TV.
So, Starfleet boy, what were your initial impressions?
I was just totally riding the ride, as they say. I was like really into the episode. I have like a ton of questions more than answers, which I really like. It was a great episode. It was my favorite WandaVision so far, and I agree with Father about Quicksilver. I think he was awesome. I don't know anything about the two kids and their powers. I know there's stuff in the comic books. We talked about it before and stuff, but I've never actually like read it. But I like the setup. I like how they're coming into their powers. Like everything about it was just really well done. And we have this, huge thing where like WandaVision's memory of what happened to create this is, hazy, yet like when there's an emergency she just increases the size of it, like, so it's really crazy. So I want to know what's going on. I'm dying to find out the resolution to this.
That last sequence, just to jump ahead, we'll go back, but the expanding of the environment was, from a visual effects standpoint, one of the best things I've ever seen in a TV show. Like, just so clever and expensive as fuck. It looked like something from a truly big budget Marvel movie.
Yeah, there's no difference for me. Like, you can watch the movies and watch the show, and it's the same quality of production.
And Disney Plus also did that in The Mandalorian. That felt like a Star Wars movie for the most part. The same level of quality in the visual effects. So I think that's something that they've consistently done with Disney Plus. They might be like short 8-episode seasons, and some episodes are only like 30 minutes, but boy, do they look good.
Yeah. What did you think of there's two instances in the episode. One where Wanda is at the door and she turns around and Quicksilver's making like this really messed up face at her. It was a little bit of a jump scare, even though it was just like a joke or whatever. But I'm like, there's something insidious behind that, even though it's played off.
Spooky episode.
Yeah,
it is a spooky episode.
And the other part,
where
she sees him as like a corpse, just like she did Vision.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So yeah. Can I also talk about another part with Agnes, which kind of clarifies something about her character, that maybe she's in on something, or she's secretly working for Mephisto or something like that. I don't think any of that's true now, because I think she's just a normal person controlled by Wanda. And the fact that when Vision snaps her out of it, she asks if she's dead because he's dead, and she's like, you're an Avenger, and he doesn't know what an Avenger is. So she starts freaking out, so he has to set her back to normal. But to me, that tells me a couple of things. That perhaps Wanda is truly the one driving the bus, when before earlier episodes, I think a lot of people were like back and forth. Is she the only one, or is something else going on here? Maybe it really is all her. What do you think?
I mean, that's possible. The comics have certainly done stuff like that, like pushing Scarlet Witch into like kind of a dark direction, with her trying to create like her perfect life, her perfect reality, have things the way she wants them. I also just occurred to me, like hearing you describe this, that maybe the stuff with Agnes is meant to mislead us, and maybe she was just doing that to manipulate Vision and try to like push him in a direction while she's still playing like some other type of in-game goal.
I could see that, but the fact that Vision's on that little walkabout and then he flies up and he sees her just parked there, so like, was she waiting for him to see her? You know what I mean? I think
it's just odd that how frequently she shows up. Like, she was there like right after the babies were born. She was the first person that came in to like meet Wanda in the first episode. So I think there is something like a little bit different with her. And I want to correct something that we said last week. Sohel and I were under the impression that Ralph had been seen on screen, that he has not. The black guy in the town. But no, like that guy is actually named Herb. Because I went and rewatched all of them. There's one scene where it's kind of confusing, where like she's talking about Ralph and she's standing next to him and they're in the same yard, so it kind of looks like they're like husband and wife.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
they're not. So we got that one wrong. So apologies.
She says something too, Agnes, when she snaps out of it, that Wanda won't even let them think of leaving. Like, Wanda won't let us even think of it. So even like, we go back to that earlier episode with the doctor wanting to go on vacation. He's like, it's hard to get away. Like, I was thinking about that, but it's also an indication that
like crying. They can only cry. It's like
in this episode, when Wanda talks to Herb, he asks her, "Is there something you want me to change?" We have these little instances where the people under control are kind of like, let's do a retake and stuff. It's like they're very much aware of the fact that they're being controlled, but if they're being so controlled, then why would they kind of break character? You know what I mean? It's all very.
It's because when they're under her influence, they're like Disney park employees, and she's the director, and like basically like, so that's why like it's like they know they're being controlled. They know she's the boss, but like they don't understand in that state that like they're being controlled. They think it's just part of life. It's brilliant, like like how she's done this, if she's done it all. And her brother even remarks on it. He's like, you've kind of solved all the ethical issues except for a few things, like there were no kids initially except for in the Halloween episode, and like there's all these like interesting like things.
The fact that like he said like you kept most of the married couples together and people aren't changed that much. I think what might have happened is that someone else created this environment knowing that Wanda would take control, knowing what Wanda would do. Because they kind of suggest that last week when she confronts the sword director and his men that were pointing the guns at her, and she turned them to point at him. I think there's some dialogue there actually where she admits like she doesn't know exactly what started this, but she kind of admits to being in control of it now. So I don't. Yeah. I think at the end of the day there is going to be another bad guy revealed, but a lot of this is mainly Wanda like pulling the strings.
It seems
bad
to
guy,
me like
secret bad. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, just bumping into this, like the fact that she can't remember how it all started gives me the impression that because of the like her reaction when she finds out Vision is in danger was to like increase the size of the hex, right? To to re-envelop him because she realized, oh, he's outside of the hex and I can't control it. I'm wondering if the initial thing that even started the hex was some sort of danger where she could only abate it by doing this. So like she and Vision's corpse or whatever were like confronted somehow in a way where all she could do was like go and create this hex and then have full control. So maybe the person who's threatening her is in fact in that environment, but they don't know who they are right now. Like they don't even know that they're trying to hurt her or whatever because she created this hex. And as long as you're in the hex, there's no way you could hurt her. And that's the impression that I got, where she couldn't remember why it started. Like it seems like something life-threatening happened and she had to be like, oops, here we go. And so now the villain is in there somewhere, just doesn't know that they have to that they're the villain. Which
what about the agent that fires Monica Rambeau? You know, that douchebag guy.
The director.
Yeah, the director.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not familiar with him. I don't think he's a comic character.
I think he's working a double angle there. I think he's some kind
There's
of double
something
agent.
up for sure, and they revealed a little bit of that when they showed, thanks to EGT, when they showed that the director knew things like he's able to track Vision and he's able to kind of he just knows a lot like about what's going on inside the hex that he hasn't revealed. But I don't know. Yeah, he's a mystery to me. I don't have much about him that I
like that they gave us a little bit of justification for his assholery, where he explains, you people that were blipped away, you don't know how hard these 5 years.
Good. I like that.
How hard the 5 years between Infinity War and Endgame were on the rest of us. I like that the show kind of explores some of that stuff, like the previous episode where it showed everyone rematerializing in the hospital. Like I don't remember if any of us talked about that back when that episode aired, but yeah, like how crazy would that be to be in the hospital and then all of a sudden half of your patients that disappeared 5 years ago, that was half of your patients at the time, and they all start showing up now, and you're going to be like scrambling your staff. You probably only have half the staff.
There's probably folks that disappeared in the middle of a heart attack. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, you're right. Like,
that would you come back and then you just die from your heart attack.
But you'd be in the hospital at least. No, but it is chaotic. It must have been chaotic to see it.
Robbie says it was creepy seeing those people near the barrier. They must be too far from the power source of the hex. I still think Agnes's husband Ralph is suspicious. She said he looked better in the dark. Devil.
Yeah, he could be Mephisto for all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Sheesh young girl. Remember when Visions? Oh wait, what happened there? Did I click on the wrong one?
Sometimes it does that. It's so
I don't
weird.
know what happened.
I've used StreamYard so much I want to click the buttons.
God damn! No, my computer was freezing. Okay, where the thing was freezing. Remember when Vision's workmate freaked out? Seems like he also knew he was trapped and being controlled. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she says, I don't know if she's young girl. I assume is a girl. She says maybe some like Agnes are willing participants and others are trapped there. So many possibilities in the show, and one of the best things about the show is that it's so engaging for the audience. It's just like this mystery and the clue, and it's going to be one of these shows that when everything's revealed, you can probably go back and say, the clues were all there. It's not going to be like with some other shows where they build a mystery and then you go back and none of it made sense leading up to it. So, yeah, I think it has great potential to end very well.
It's gonna be neat to see what all these people turn into, because she just like consumed the entire sword operation.
Yeah. The director got away though, and the FBI dude, Jimmy Woo, right? Jimmy Woo
and Monica
Rambeau made it. So maybe the three of them will have to like team up again and be like, we don't like each other, but we're gonna have to work together to do this.
Yeah.
How close are we to the finale? How many episodes is it?
3 more.
3 more. So we're 5 into it now.
6.
6.
There's 9 episodes.
9 total.
Yeah. So we got 7, 8, 9 coming up, and it's weird because the show just keeps getting better and better. I don't know.
But we're going to be moving into like the third act of their season-long arc. You know, they're gonna be setting up their end game, no pun intended, for the season pretty soon.
It could be the last 3 episodes are like the huge climax of a movie. Like it'll just be boom, boom, boom from now on. I mean, I don't know if anybody's seen any promotional material for next week, but I won't even get into that.
Yeah,
but
they're
still in that TV. They're doing a Modern Family thing next week, where they're or like when in the 2000s when people started talking to the camera.
Yeah, like The Office.
That happened in this episode too, though. It also happened with the kids.
But that was Malcolm in the Middle thing.
This is the Malcolm in the Middle
where Frankie Muniz used to actually speak directly to the camera and like narrate.
I get but there were like nice. Zach Morris did it too in Saved by the Bell.
I hate the I kind of hate the American Office and like all the sitcoms that were inspired by it. Like all those shows that have they're shot in like handheld. And they all have like that same sense of humor, where it's just like they just like draw on like these awkward moments, and then like it'll be like an awkward thing happens, and like there's a handheld camera kind of shaking around documentary style, like zooms in on somebody, and there's like, and then like it like pans over like someone else, and they just make like a weird face. And it's just
Spinal Tap. You have to hate Spinal Tap because
I like that because that was the whole point of it. But like it's not like the Office and Parks and Rec and that shit just like annoys me. I don't know.
British Office is great though. I love the British.
I like that one a lot more because it has a smarter sense of humor. I was trying to think of a less pretentious way, a less snobby way of saying that, but yeah, it's just the jokes there are a little bit more clever, and I kind of like that darker sense of humor that it embraced.
I think Trailer Park Boys was one of the earliest things, at least in Canada, that ever did that.
Yeah, that's how I picture your day-to-day life, PJ, up in Newfoundland. I just think it's just like Trailer Park Boys.
In my trailer park.
I've never seen the show. I'll have to see it.
It's every season is the exact same thing. It's like that's the formula of the show is that the guys they get out of jail, they get into some shit, and by the end of the season they go back to jail again, and it's like a cycle. But anyway, let's not get into Trailer Park Boys. Anything that stood out as like one of your favorite scenes in the episode? Something that you instantly remember when you think about it?
All the Quicksilver stuff basically was great. All the
Yeah,
Teaching.
gags.
Oh yeah, and the kids have
And the
powers
kid-
now.
Yeah, the kids have powers. Like all that whole interaction with how they were like, he's like Uncle Man Baby or something, man, yeah, whatever it was, like just. And then I like that he knows he's changed, but he doesn't know why. That kind of stood out to me. It's like I just really am super intrigued by the mystery of like why it's how they're gonna like explain it, and if they are going to at all. It's really interesting stuff that he's the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe to the Fox universe of Marvel or whatever, you know.
I love the conversation, Wanda and Pietro, or I'll just gonna call him Quicksilver, but where he says, "What happened to your?" No, she says, "What happened to your accent?" And he goes, "What happened to yours?" And he explains that, like, listen, all I know is that I was basically shot by Ultron, or whatever happened. Was he shot by Ultron?
Shot him 3 times. I don't think it was.
He was shot by one of those
drone
robot
things. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He was killed.
He died. He died pushing Hawkeye out of the way.
Yeah, and he explains that situation, which happened with a different actor,
which they showed in the previously on material in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
They showed the scene from Age of Ultron.
Oh, I skipped over that. Yeah.
You should watch. They manipulate it every week. They're slightly different. It's the same thing. They'll show you the same flashback, but it's slightly different, which is interesting, from a different angle or even acted a different way.
Yeah. So like he was conjured. He was conjured up somehow, and it was clearly not Wanda's doing. So that's another clue that there's somebody else or something else going on. But in terms of controlling the environment itself,
he doesn't say
she has
it's
most
Wanda's
control.
He does say though that he heard Wanda's voice, like all he remember, but like not necessarily that it she's doing.
But she didn't call out to him.
Well, but she needed something. Remember, it was in that moment.
Oh yeah.
It was in that moment where she and Vision were having like trust issues or something like that, and she just needed something, and the doorbell rang, and it happened to be him. Like it totally you know, it's always, these things seem to always happen when she needs them, which is interesting also. So yeah, I feel like he came like when she called for help or something. She was also thinking of him in that episode. She'd been talking about him to the kids and stuff like that. So she might be doing things subconsciously.
Brought him up. That started back when Monica was undercover as Geraldine. She said, like, you had a brother, didn't you? He was killed by Ultron.
Right, actually, that's right.
I like that in their Halloween costumes, they look like their original like comic book versions, like especially Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, because I'm just a huge fan of Jack Kirby. He's the most talented guy who ever worked in comics, and deserves as much. He deserves a little bit more recognition than Stan Lee, probably. and I feel like he doesn't always get it. But he passed away in the early '90s, and that's part of why he's kind of forgotten. But the Jack Kirby designs of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, where he has like the weird hair, 2 little spike things. I was happy to see how they were playing around with that for the Halloween costumes.
Was Vision's costume also something from like, because I've seen that in comic book images, like what he was wearing? Was that?
Yeah, I mean that's basically what he looks like. This is like a more cartoony version of. Right. They do a pretty good job in like the actual movies and in the show with the more realistic, I guess, version of but it's like the same color scheme. I'm actually happy with how much the MCU tries to embrace the actual comic book designs. They do tweak things here and there, but you know, Vision's a perfect example of how they kind of modernize that and make it look good in live action. And how cool was that this week to see Vision, you know, flying around as he like looks in the movies. You know, it really felt like you were watching like a MCU Avengers movie on TV for a little bit, when just seeing him as he would normally appear.
Well, and the whole sequence where he's trying to break out and everything was just so high quality, like that looked so good. What I thought she was gonna say that her costume was the Scarlet Witch. I thought she was gonna like say it in this episode, but she actually didn't, which is funny.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that they've never used that in the movies, which is crazy to me that they've never brought that up. After this season, she needs to be Scarlet Witch, I think.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we promote Tex Trek's upcoming interview in 25 minutes?
One thing that I want to mention that I don't think I noticed until this week, but long story short, like we're having like insanely cold weather for us Texans. PJ, it was like it's gonna be 5 degrees Monday. That's like unheard of here.
Wow.
But like everything is iced over. My girlfriend Antonia stayed home. She couldn't go to work, and she hadn't seen WandaVision. So while I'm working, she's in the room next to me, like watching all the episodes. And then on my lunch break, I watched the new episode with her. But I was kind of like listening to it, and when I heard them all like back to back to back like that, one thing I noticed that I'd never noticed before, the theme song, you know, it changes every year and they have like a different opening credit sequence, but it always has the same 4 notes where it says like WandaVision. Like it was always like da 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 da. Like they incorporate that in every version of the theme song. And I just love whenever there's musical continuity and stuff.
Except for the part where I think it was the first one where it's WandaVision. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, but I think somewhere in there, like
Oh yeah, WandaVision. It's like okay. I hear you.
I really like the commercial in this one. The magic.
That was dark.
That was dark as fuck, man.
And the comics.
I forgot all about that.
The commercials have referenced stuff from the comics, like that watch commercial, Strucker. That's like a Baron von Strucker is a Marvel villain. He's a Nazi. He's a Marvel villain. What else? The Hydra. There's a Hydra soap. Yeah. The Stark toaster.
What was this called? Magigurt yogurt. What was it?
Yeah,
Yo Magic.
It was supposed to be
Yo
like
Magic.
It was like a Go-Gurt type commercial.
Go-Gurt, yeah.
There's some kind of hidden meaning in that,
like that
because it's so dark and fucked up.
Like,
there has to be
someone's
got to
I
analyze
thought it
that
was a
and figure
reference.
it out.
I thought it was a reference to the people in the town, that they're not really like, they're just doing the same thing over and over again, like how they're gonna
die. They're gonna die alone on a desert island.
But
isn't the commercial?
Isn't the joke of the commercial that he's so weak he can't even open it? And it's like, this stuff is for survivors. Like, if you really wanted to survive, you would have opened it. It's like fucked up, man. What were you gonna say, Father?
Are these commercials something that they're just making for us to watch on Disney Plus, or do you think the commercials actually exist in universe as something that Darcy and Jimmy Woo are seeing on the TV?
I think they're seeing, I think sometimes if you see the monitors in the background, I could be wrong. I think one of the commercials was playing in the background.
Okay.
So I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure whatever we see as a television series, including the commercials, is what is being broadcast.
It would make sense
for whatever reason.
It would make sense about Stark products, though, but like I think none of those things. I think they're parodies even in universe. Like I think
Robbie has a cool observation, by the way, about the commercials. Lagos, when they had the Lagos paper towels, something like it'll clean up any mistake or something like that. That's referring to her mistake when she accidentally like blew up that school in Civil War, and that's what started.
That makes total sense. That's great.
The whole battle between Stark and Captain America.
Yeah, you can actually
nice.
You can go on YouTube, and I haven't really examined them all yet, but people get into these like theories about every little thing in the show, and apparently the show is just packed with Easter eggs that just elude me the first and even second or third time I watch
Robbie mentioned one earlier about the rug in the director's office having hexagons. There's like hexagons everywhere.
Yeah, hexagon patterns and stuff like that, and it's fucked up. It's weird. It's weird. I love it.
Some people were thinking that would tie into AIM. Do y'all remember AIM from Iron Man 3?
Automated intelligence machine.
They're in the comics. They're like an evil group of scientists. They're kind of like the more scientific version of like Hydra or some secret society like that. And they always wear like these beekeeper type looking suits. Like they wear like these yellow like radiation suits. Kind of like like those radiation suits that like Doc Brown and Marty McFly were wearing when they were testing the door. It kind of looks like that. So when we had like that Beekeeper a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people were thinking like that was AIM, and sometimes they have like hexagon stuff as like their logo. But I don't. I want the MCU to do stuff with AIM because they were kind of lame in Iron Man 3, and they can do really cool stuff with them. I think Iron Man or not Ant-Man 3 is supposed to have AIM stuff in it. The script that they're working on.
The Mind Stone is in a hexagonal setting, by the way. If you look at it carefully, it's got 6 sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to bring something up before we promote what's coming up tonight. We're now getting into a point in the show where events are happening on clearly the level in which Avengers should be involved. Like, some Avengers are still around, right? At this time. Well, actually, they've all come back. So, who do you think is going to intervene? Because some of the Avengers have to intervene at some point. I mean, it's going to be... I don't mean to crap on a show that's obviously fantastic so far, but I think I'll be kind of disappointed. And I'm not looking for a cheap cameo. I'm talking about, like, just the believability of this event and how they're not calling in any Avengers or suggesting that we need help from Doctor Strange or whoever, or doesnp matter. I don't know, but I think Doctor Strange is
why. But they could be at the end of Nick Fury's on a spaceship. Maybe they're on a space adventure somewhere, and stuff like that. And so it happens to be happening right, at that moment. But I don't know.
Who do you think is the most likely to show up?
Nick Fury.
Like an actual big Avenger.
Well, I think Nick Fury is definitely going to show up, if anyone.
He's not. I wouldn't consider him a big Avenger. He's not got a solo film. I'm talking about a solo film kind of guy or girl.
Then it has to be Doctor Strange, probably.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be a guy you can get on a TV budget. No offense to Benedict Cumberbatch, but
he's happy to do TV. Let's just say it that.
Well, the two expensive guys, they killed one. They turned another into an old man, and then the next most expensive person, they send him into outer space to hang out with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So all the Avengers on Earth will still work on a TV budget, I guess.
Well,
maybe they're going to tie it in.
I wouldn't call it TV anymore. I'd call it serialized movies, serialized film. Because it almost doesn't feel
we'll have to
like
debate
TV
this on Starfleet Boy After Dark.
What I wish they would do at the end of like WandaVision or something, make 2 movies out of it, like 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie, and like include alternate takes or re-edits or like time shifts or something like that to make it not like exactly like the show, but you could absorb it as like a 2-part miniseries of sorts, like a
2-part
4-hour movie, basically. I guess. I don't know. I'm just like talking out my ass now. But yeah. So, Father.
Yo.
What do you got coming up?
Well, coming up in about 16 minutes, wherever you are, in about 16 minutes, you can catch the premiere of the 134th Text Trek podcast, in which you will see me and my co-host Dave interview Will Nguyen, who is commonly known on Twitter as the Star Trek communist. And he is a big Star Trek fan and also a bit of I think he would consider himself a Marxist revolutionary in action. And we just chat with him about where he sees his political views and Star Trek crossover. So everyone should check that out. That's going to be on the Text Trek YouTube channel. And after it premieres there, it'll be available as an audio-only podcast. Wherever you get your podcast from, you'll be able to start listening to that later tonight as well.
I'm super excited.
All right.
That's in
Starfleet
15
Boy.
minutes, right? And then after that, not too long after that, what time is it over, Father? How long is the interview? Are you allowed to tell?
It's an hour, 5 minutes, 11 seconds.
I love it.
That's like Spock answer. It's like Spock or Data would tell you.
or Burnham.
Or Burnham, yeah.
So we'll do it. We'll do an early, probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. 9:30, 10 o'clock Starfleet Boy After Dark. Wait, it would be 8:30, 9 o'clock Central Times.
Yes.
Regardless, we'll probably go on early. We'll talk more about WandaVision, maybe some more about The Expanse, and just like some of the happenings that are going on in science fiction today. Like, I'm very fascinated about a topic, and we'll go into it more on Starfleet Boy After Dark. I'll save it for then so that you guys can come and tune in.
Oh, now I'm curious.
Yeah, you gotta
tell me
You gotta
in private.
come. You gotta show up to find out what it is.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. And I want to thank everybody in the chat for participating in this discussion. And I'm going to leave it off on a little music video from Strangejuice. It's called Sugar for Horses. When this plays, you guys can bow out. It's perfectly fine because I wouldn't expect you to wait around. I'm definitely going to check out Tex Trek's interview in 14 minutes. So until next time, folks, live long and prosper. And stay tuned for Starfleet Boy After Dark after Tex Trek.
Dream of you all the time. Hands are silk, bottom eyes. Tiger from his midrise. I steer your bed. Sugar cubes for horses. They could buy, but they do not. Somehow it's more real than God. The dawn hangs out, the dawn hangs out on my rains down my sleeve, blood like water falling away, leads the shots to my heart, to my heart. The window that's overlooked every day. The dawn hangs out on my soul. The dawn hangs out. An elephant dreams of you. Curves are your legs you wanted to. You light the butt of a cigarette, but no one minds at all. Push open arms, right? You say, what's life without pain? Nothing. The dawn hangs out on my soul. The dawn hangs out. The dawn hangs out on my soul. Sugar cubes for horses, they could buy, they do not. Somehow it's more real than God. The dawn hangs out on my soul. The dawn hangs out. The dawn hangs out on my soul.
crowd.